6 pages.
6 pages.
Again, an original member of our council chamber, proudly representing Ōrākei, and a very strong and independent voice for that community. Councillor Cam.
Already seeing a conspiracy here like Donald Trump. The microphone's too low. Can you hear me? No. We'll progress anyway. Is it on?
Can't hear people.
It's terrible.
It's not a good.
Testing.
Can you hold it?
Testing. Should we walk the room?
Yeah, hold it.
Testing.
That's better.
Thank you. Ironically, the four that are giving the valedictory speeches today, Mr. Mayor, are probably the four that are still going to be lurking around next term at the cocktail parties and at the civic openings and that. So it's great to be among you. 6 years ago, I was racing around the Ōrākei ward trying to out-campaign the establishment's anointed council candidate. My campaign was pretty much a one-man band, as people quickly observed. But I managed to gather the public on my side, and for that I'll always be grateful. For me, today is primarily about acknowledging you, my colleagues, my friends, family, and members of the public for keeping my chin up, humouring me, and encouraging me. Unlike Parliament, where it's so inherently tribal, being a super city councillor can be a lonely place at times. But all the pluses have well outweighed any negatives. My first real insight into how politics can work came nearly 22 years ago when, as a newly elected tertiary student president, I convinced the student committee of the day to pay me for editing a new student publication that I'd established, no less. And even better, Mr. Mayor, it was the one vote from my first cousin on that committee that ensured I got a monthly paycheck. At that point, I fully understood the considerable opportunities that politics can present. It's been a lot of fun and a real privilege to sit amongst so many of you, so many local government luminaries over the past 6 years. To be part of Auckland municipal history with the amalgamation and to watch our city prosper at so many levels. I've made speeches in different parts of the country and have met so many talented people. I was proud to chair the inaugural Business Advisory Panel, the Planning and Urban Design Forum, and this term serve as Deputy Chair of the Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei Reserves Board. I've enjoyed a lot of the committee work, particularly the annual budget rounds and the two long-term plans we collectively worked on in 2012 and 2015. The exhaustive unitary plan process that we've all just gone through and are still going through gives us each a unique and pretty comprehensive insight as to where this region is heading in the coming decades. In the end, I believed we landed in quite an even-handed place, and I was pleased to support it. I was also pleased I wrote those articles in the New Zealand Herald and in the Fairfax papers late last year, awakening the public's attention to the outer scope changes that were being slipped through, hitting the eastern suburbs the hardest. While throwing out those outer scope changes later was a small victory to democracy and good process, bigger than that, I actually believe meeting the public's demands in March has helped us secure the wider acceptance of the unitary plan more recently. I'm also pleased the role I've played since day one on shining light on Auckland Council's rising debt levels and annual interest bill, the significant rates increases for some areas, the importance of the UAGC in ensuring it was debated annually, the call to honour a nearly 20-year commitment of narrowing the business rating differential and challenging the ever-decreasing amount of detail we get around our operational budget. I've also taken to compiling and releasing the Council's wage and salary and staff numbers, and last year was unsuccessful at trying to hold the wage bill. I also don't make any apology for publicly holding the likes of the mayoral office, the IMSB and our CCOs to account and calling them out on some of their spending decisions. Remember the empty trams going around and around Wynyard Quarter at huge expense. Remember the $60 million on comms and marketing for the first 2 years alone. Remember the $10.5 million staff travel bill for the first 2 years. Remember the Ombudsman investigating my complaint over the council's secrecy on how much it pays individual legal firms. Remember the fight over the V8s after the Hamilton fiasco. And remember the rubbishing I got when I dared to publicly suggest that the waterfront and Auckland transport would struggle to cope with the opening night of the Rugby World Cup. The $20 million for whitewater rafting, statements about and letters to the Auditor General over the city rail links, cost uncertainties and ratepayer exposure, that motion of no confidence, and of course the living wage. My amendment this term, which effectively kicked the living wage for touch, was 1.1110. It has not only saved ratepayers millions of dollars, but importantly has protected jobs in competing businesses throughout the region. If this matter is ever raised again, all I ask is that Council takes the time and consults widely. While it might sound great, given Auckland Council was the biggest show in town, it has significant and wide implications for others. For now, that's history, but I do take comfort in the fact that those of us who over the years have questioned public policy, the silly spending, pushed for greater accountability and raised genuine concerns publicly have without doubt helped ensure a more disciplined and prudent organisation, and that is a great outcome for Auckland ratepayers. The ability for councillors to be able to openly challenge the organisation and mayoralty must be maintained. We have a strong mayor model where he or she has executive powers, leads the budget, policy and planning processes, and decides deputy mayor committee makeup and chairs. That is all and powerful, and whoever the mayor is, and whatever their majority, the political leadership needs to be constantly challenged to ensure ongoing accountability, transparency for Aucklanders, ultimately better decision making and a stronger, visible democratic model. Ratepayers deserve nothing less. In the last 3 years, with the organisation struggling in its wider public perception, I strongly believe it has become increasingly and unnecessarily involved in micromanaging of its reputation. Dare I say, when it becomes harder for some media, organisations and councillors to get information than other media, organisation and councillors, then a public organisation has become too political. I am hoping with a fresh mandate next month that this organisation becomes much less defensive, more trusting and open to all. I believe the Mayor and Councillors need to place greater emphasis and allow more time on initiating and authoring the letters of expectation we send our CCOs and the resulting statements of intent. That is the only chance and way we can really direct and control our massive CCOs. A small victory last year was when approving our governance manual for the substantive CCOs was to stamp out the suggestive directive that, quote, councillors will advise CCOs if they are approached by the media to speak about a CCO-related issue. Councillors should never be afraid of bringing the work of our CCOs into the political and public arena and should never have to seek permission to do so. One of the reasons, Mr Mayor, I've been able to helpfully assist the Council with its public relations so frequently over the years is I have had a very strong local board serving the Ōrākei ward on local issues, projects and services. In fact, the same 7 people have served that board for the past 6 years, with some good local people now lining up to replace the 4 stepping down. I want to acknowledge Chair Desley Simpson, the relentless work she has done throughout the Ōrākei ward and the respect she has garnered across the political divide and region. I wish her every success next month and beyond. Locally, I was proud to start the first term brokering a meeting with the St Heliers developer of Tarua Street. Remember Tarua Street, Mr Mayor? It's all coming
Great
back.
memories.
And concerned community leaders over those doomed Art Deco cottages. That went a long way in building some goodwill and for the community to better understand the developer's case and plans. I have been pleased to bring the Meadowbank Community Centre, remember that one? To the budget table year in, year out, and fight for a new centre to be funded, as well as advocate for budget to be unleashed to fund the Tamaki Drive Master Plan. I am hopeful both will be funded in 2018 long-term plan, in the 2018 long-term plan. I was also pleased to secure a commitment around assessing the feasibility of a future Selwyn rail station in Porewa Valley. Successfully support the Ōrākei local board and its advocacy over the council's $60 million purchase of Colin Maiden Park from the University of Auckland, as well as help to secure a few local wins around the unitary plan and raise public awareness of its local impact. I demanded assurances when it came to the likes of special housing areas, local stormwater issues, and fronted the successful pushback on the Key Street Boulevard plan, which would have only slowed commuter traffic. And I railed against that initial plan to get rid of domestic open fireplaces, which has since been dropped. You can also probably blame me for inciting the whole berm debate.
Oh, that was fabulous.
Those were the halcyon days
were the
indeed,
days, yes.
Mr Mayor. When it comes to bringing the Ōrākei issues, priorities and projects to the governing body, the Ōrākei local board and I have worked well together on message and singing from the same song sheet, which is not always a given for a councillor and local board. Ōrākei's 10 suburbs are well served by some strong residents associations who I want to acknowledge, and 3 great bid areas or business associations. Remuera managed by Laura Carr, Ellerslie managed by Megan Darrow, and St Heliers managed by Wendy Casperson. Our bid leaders region-wide do a lot of work in the community on our behalf, and Council's relationship with them needs to strengthen. I also want to acknowledge the hard-working local MPs I've worked alongside. The late Alan Peachy, Simon O'Connor, Rodney Hyde, John Banks, David Seymour, Paul Goldsmith, and Sam Lotuainga. I have remained committed to the centre right, and so let's just say these MPs have been relatively easy to work with. I've also worn my heart on my sleeve at local body election time, always there for the greater cause and always prepared to publicly support the centre right candidates from the Mayoralty down. Thank you to the executive leadership team, council, management and democracy services in particular for support over the past 6 years, which has dramatically increased for councillors since 2010. Great to also see my old CSA Aidan here in the gallery today too. I could now go around the table and talk you all up, but I just want to single out 3 of you. I did a draw out of the hat, Mr Mayor. And your name came out.
Oh, surprise.
But so did Dick Quacks's. Dick Quacks fought the hardest race over the past 3 years, and he has won. And this is the gold that Dick really needed to win. His philosophical outlook, yet determined attitude to just get on with his work and life have been admired by all of us, and the good people of Howick. We look forward to the 50th anniversary of Montreal, and many, many more with you, Dick, and Sir John Walker.
Yeah.
Denise Crum. Denise has also had to face some worrying health issues in her immediate family, not to mention changing personal circumstances for herself as a brand new councillor. But testament to Denise's strength will be reward the good people of Mangakiki and Tamaki deliver her next month, a reflection of her continued focus and hard work over the past 3 years. Mr Mayor, apart from all the debt, thank you for all you have secured Auckland. You have done well to bring, Mr Mayor, you have done well to bring the region together, apart from some in North Rodney. But thank you. Thank you for your commitment and relentless cheer. This month, I, along with others, was very pleased to support the City Rail Link because you not only got the national government finally on board, you got them well on board. I appreciate the friendship you have shown so many of us, and we all wish you, your wife and girls all the very best. And of course, more granddad time awaits. Thank you also to my beautiful and supportive wife, Kate, daughter Lucy, who's now 11, William 2, and Rupert 3 months. The 3-month-old is easier than the 2-year-old, we're fast learning. My personal circumstances have changed a lot too since arriving here. But I have to say, Mr. Mayor, the good thing about the Auckland housing boom is if you lose 50% of your equity, you can regain it back quite quickly if you're prepared to buy and sell a few times and move around, as we have done over the past 5 years. We're now locked into the lovely community of Riverhead, and the family is the priority. I intend to continue growing my public relations business, Cameron Brewer Communications Limited. And who said I was egotistical? As well as hopefully serving on the Rodney Local Board as part of the Rodney First Ticket.
Excellent.
Sealing roads.
That's right. Whether, though, I have the political portability of Tim Shadbolt to seamlessly move between the constituents of Kohimarama to Kaukopakapa is yet to be seen. But regardless, I am grateful to you all for this experience, your camaraderie and the public's forbearance. I have tried to be a friend to the ratepayers. I hope I have also been a friend to you. I may be signing out of the council chamber today, but sorry, I'm not signing off from politics just yet. My very best wishes to my fellow retirees on the governing body and local boards, and best wishes to the rest of you for election day. Thank you.
Now, here's something for you, Cam. It's interesting, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but most importantly, these are for Kate, not you, right? We know she's not here, but young family mate. So all the very, very best to you guys out in Riverhead. Everyone put your hands together for